Hello, internet neighbor, especially my son Lucas. It's the prospiracy theorist, aka Iggy Wadadwa, aka Michael Harvey, etc., etc. Um, and I want to talk to you about education today. And so, before we get started, just start with a little prayer. Good will conquer evil, love will conquer hate. Manas, in Lakesh, Namaste, Ubuntu, love. A little love goes a really long way. So fundamentally, I think education should involve more activity and less time in desks. Um, we remember what we can recreate better than what we just see or hear. That's just a simple fact. Um, and I think the reason why we spend time in desks is because they don't want us to be able to take our family and friends and ride off into the sunset and recreate civilization wherever we end up. The powers that be do not want that. Um, and I'm pretty sure you realize that. And like I grew up having a garden, and like I have learned so many things from my father that weren't taught in school that kept me alive. Like, not joking at all. The last 5 years, what I learned from my father outside of school kept me alive way more than what I learned in school. So, and most of what he taught me, I learned at Mill Creek Park. So, or in my backyard garden. So, I think we should be taking kids more into gardens and forests. So we learn to, like, we used to learn how to live, and now we learn how to obey. And I want to change that. In order to live, you have to have your needs met, but we're not taught to meet our needs. Like your needs involve like clean air, good food, clean water. Um, One way to do that is growing plants. You do all those things growing plants. They'll purify your air. They'll make you food. They'll purify your water. There's plants in certain places where you can just like chop them off and they're like a water fountain. So, and then there's other ways to do all that. And we should be learning all of those things in school. And we should learn how to cook food, balance checkbooks, etc. Like literally, I could go on all day with things that we need to learn that are not taught in school. And then why do we force kids in groups based on age instead of development? That's just so they're easier to control. And then, like, I think that's what school is all about. And I think that's why they teach certain lies, so that they can hijack people's brains. Um, I think we're really a lot more like computer programs than we think. And if somebody can get you to believe an absurdity, they can get you to commit an atrocity. The best example of that is Christopher Columbus and saying, well, first of all, his name was Cristobal Colon. So they get you to believe that his name was something else. Maybe he changed it legally again, but whatever. That's a moot point. The lie, the definite lie, is that he discovered a place where people were already living. You cannot discover a place people are already living unless those people aren't people. And that's the lie. So setting that up to say that he discovered a place he didn't discover, like, teaches you that people who are already there aren't really people, and you can do whatever you want with them. And that's what happened. And that's why there was chattel slavery and all of the terrible things that happened. That's why all of that happened, because people believed that lie and then committed atrocities because of it. And things like that go on all the time. But I'm not going to try and bring up other ones because it's hard enough to get people, because there's still people who believe Christopher Columbus discovered America. So, yeah. Uh, but anyhow, um, private schools are a tool of an oppressor for that reason. Like, they separate the kids, rich and poor, so that the rich kids get fewer lies installed on them. They still get some, don't get me wrong, because the kings and queens and pope, they still want to have control over everybody. Um, so the rich kids in the private schools, they still get a few lies here and there. And they're still taught about Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy. Like, those things are cultural, like, hacks, in my opinion. So, um, but they design it so that poor kids get more. And that's why private schools should be outlawed. So, and then ask yourself this: why are healthcare and education tied to zip codes? Yeah, start thinking about that stuff, and you'll start thinking about systemic racism, and that it's real. And if you watch my other slide about healthcare and how China and India have 4 out of 10 people on less than 10% of the land, think about it like this. Those are indigenous civilizations that Europe didn't conquer. They conquered pretty much the rest of the world. Now, what if there used to be like 20 billion people on the planet, and the Europeans have just been murdering their way across the world, taking it? And what if climate change isn't real, but climate change is really Mother Earth saying that if they succeed in conquering the world, she's going to end it? Because she does not want her children to be slaves. So, just put that in your pipe and smoke it a little bit, or put it in your book and read it. Ponder it is what I'm asking you to do. So, why can't we have a different education system? Why can't we have socialization courses with the same age group, like music, poetry, art, athletics, um, those things? And then why can't we have intellectual courses where you're encouraged to advance as fast as you can, like math, science, learn as many languages as you can, things like that? Um, and if every school had a garden, including some farm animals that they eventually slaughtered, like, yeah, the kids would be traumatized a little bit, but guess what? If you want to eat a hamburger, you should know that it comes from a cow. So, and if they had slaughterhouses at every school instead of these centralized ones, so many more fathers and mothers would have jobs. And those jobs would be closer to their kids. Anyhow, just think about stuff like that. And if all the children knew how to cook and clean, they could be sent off to the nursing homes to volunteer cooking and cleaning and decorating, like taking flowers and stuff that they grew in the gardens to the old folks' homes, and learning from the old folks, and learning that one day they're going to be like that and that they should do something before then, like, because everybody dies, but not everybody lives. Make sure you live, Lucas. And same to you, internet neighbor, because you are much more powerful than you think you are. That's why they don't want you to vote. That's why they don't want you to read. That's why they don't want you to meet people that don't look like you. All right, I'm done. Just remember, the 2 steps of the Bloodless Rebellion are think how to love better and then do it. I'm trying to love you guys better. And Lucas, I'll see you soon.